So one of the most unfortunate and kind of cringe-worthy things that we see along with the Scorpio announcement is the fact that people change the narrative about the Xbox not having any games. And to that effect, Major Nelson and Albert Panello recently did a podcast together, and they released some information about Xbox Scorpio, and people are really excited about it or whatever. Xbox marketing head Albert Panello tried to talk about some of the games and things like that. Major Nelson confirmed that the theme for this year's E3 is all about the games, which is good. He says over the coming months and obviously leading up to launch, we'll have more news, more games, and of course that's going to be the theme of E3. He said Panello further added that they're listening to fan feedback and games are on the way for Scorpio. There's going to be some big things, games. Look, I get it. I hear the feedback. I want everybody to know games. It's coming. That's what today was all about, the specs. I told you that in the future it's going to be about the games, especially around E3. He went on to say that the fans and developers need not worry about the fact that there might be dilution of focus or quality of games. With that, there being two models to focus on now, and that Microsoft have crafted the Scorpio with the developers in mind as much as the consumers. He says, yeah, I think one of the things I'll just sort of tease is, like, I think one of the things that people wonder about the transition to these to the two console model is, am I going to get two slightly less versions of one game than I would have gotten in the old model, where I can just work on, one platform for 10 years. We have to put as much care and craftsmanship and effort and energy into the process for developers as we put into the product for customers. That's a story that I'm excited to, be able to tell at some point. That means better. It means better games, but because developers spending more time on the content and things like that. Well, here's the thing. So they're saying that there's games, right? They're on the way. We know that, but we also know that they're supposedly teasing something for the future and things like that, and teasing exclusives. And I've heard that they're going to tease and announce something. So them announcing and saying, "Hey, we've got some games," I think that should alleviate some of the fears that people have as far as Scorpio is concerned. And I will link this article so you guys can check it out, which it'll kick it back to the Major Nelson podcast to begin with. But I think it's very important for people to hear that it's going to have games, and they're not going anywhere. Microsoft is in it for the long haul. You don't come out with new hardware without games. And I think that people are a little bit critical of Microsoft when they weren't Sony. Sony launched the PS4 Pro with nothing special. It was like all patched games on that. And with the Xbox Scorpio, people expect them to launch games, launch exclusives, even though it isn't going to have exclusives. It's going to have games that it shares with the Xbox One. So it's not a traditional new console generation launch where you got to have such and such amount of games. It's not going to happen that way anymore. Because as we all know, you can't have a console without some type of games. But at the same time, we're in uncharted territory here where we have to deal with multiple consoles and we have to deal with a mid-gen upgrade or whatever. So I do think that while people have a valid concern where games are concerned, I don't think that people are giving Microsoft enough credit for what they've already done this generation, because I think they've done a tremendous job right from the start of getting out games. And every E3 they've had has been games. Now, I know people will probably confuse the E3 2013 with the Reveal 2013. The Reveal wasn't games, but that E3 was 100% games, and every year since has been games. Even when you look over at Sony stuff, they were the ones that weren't necessarily doing games at E3. They were talking about TV and their View TV and this and that and the other thing, and Microsoft was still not getting credit. But it's nice to see that games are coming, and it's also nice to see that Microsoft is doubling down on the games and the hardware when so many people think they were trying to get out of the industry. So let me know what you guys think, man. It means a lot to me. Hit that like and subscribe button. So let me know what you think, when you think, and all that good stuff. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.